Hackett.
Yo, well, that was awesome.
Yeah, you like that?
I was having a lot of fun and realizing how much the horror fan community is just like professional wrestling.
Yeah, they're ridiculous. Yes, they are.
Yep.
How you doing, buddy? How you been for the last month?
Man, I've been good. I went to a show for the first time in forever. I went and checked out AEW and had a really good time.
So I know the last show we were on, I mean, we were going through stuff, but there was so much. Yeah. Are you still local? Are you Philly-wise?
No. I went back home to Connecticut. I couldn't get a job after college, and I came back home, and I've been here. I haven't been down to Philly in, it had to be like 2018. It's been so long since I've been down there. I miss it. I put on all my LaSalle gear today because we beat St. Joe's, and I don't know if there's anyone local that I could irritate just a smidge by doing that.
Yeah, it's whoever's listening. We definitely got people. But so I've known you since 2000.
Yep.
So I was probably about 6 to 9 months in as far as wrestling. I was already kind of doing my thing, helping the promoter that was hired by ECW. So I was doing work for him. How long were you in the business? Like officially, because it seemed to me you were already commentating when you joined CWF.
So 2018, no.
Yeah. Come on, dude.
2000 on the, 99. Right after my 18th birthday was the first time I was in the ring. It was for Infinity Wrestling.
That was Todd Tanner's, right?
Todd Tanner's.
Okay, cool. The wrestled there once. Yes.
Yep. And my first time in the ring, I got busted wide open hard way. And I went to the back and everyone was like, man, what a great blade job. I'm like, do we have something I can stop the blood pouring down the half of my face?
Were you, now keep in mind, were you, because when I known you were a commentator. So were you trying to wrestle or were you a commentator in the blood for it?
I was always trying to wrestle. That was my whole thing. Captain Rick was training me during that time. I worked a lot with Shaka, with Brickwall Bradley, who then became Chris Crude.
Yeah.
Tommy North Shore, CJ. What is his?
Boy, I think he's CJ Doyle now.
CJ Doyle now.
You called his first match. I remember.
I did. I
remember spiking him up because like he was nervous to go out there. Like we were all like, dude, you got this. Get out.
Yeah. Yeah. 2000, I had a little bit of a break when I came home from college, and I got into it again, I think like 04 or 05, and I worked here until 2017. I think I stopped right around 2017. So
wow. So you were around a while doing all this all the way to dude, that's a long time, man.
I know. I that first generation of NXT, it was so great because there were so many people I saw come up through New England, and it just was, it always felt good seeing local kids make good. Actually, one of the managers, I think he's on the main roster now. I got a chance to manage him in a match. So I always like to point that out, is that I managed one of the refs who's on the main roster now for a match.
Sweet.
Yeah,
dude, because me and Garrett Doms, we were 99 together till December of 03 or was the beginning of 04. And like that was it. Like in reality, mine was small. If you really want to break it down, like I think it was 50 some. I call it matches, even though I was more of a manager. Like between managing Garrett, being in the battle royal.
Yeah.
It's funny because I was a wrestling manager and I've never lost. I should be the guy that lost every match. Like, the manager is finally getting his ass. I've never been pinned.
I have a 1-1 record in matches on the record. So I'm 500 and I won a tag match and I forgot what else I lost. I had a situation where I took an L, but were you at that show, Real American Wrestling, where we all got to win the hardcore championship there?
No. Man, the last thing I think was the last show was Michael Markavage. He had something kind of down. I think he was a one and done guy. Like, that was like, I almost want to say like Bethlehem or something.
I think I was at that. I remember doing Bethlehem.
Yeah. So
no, I did a lot down there. It was fun. It was the good time to break in. You know, you never knew who was going to show up on a show, and plus all the indie guys there were big deals. Like Billy Reel was such a big deal at that point in time. And you never knew when they were going to walk out there. It was a fun time to be involved in wrestling.
Yeah, but at the same time, dude, I was like a Walking Dead guy. I literally was, knowing that like ECW is gone.
Oh yeah,
WCW. But particularly because everybody knew Garrett and I had connections to ECW, even though we never wrestled there. But like, you're kind of like, we're the guys on the back porch.
Yep.
We got better odds. Like, and then like when that folded, I'm like, okay, so here we are at CW of all of them, Infinity, and like,
oh yeah, it was.
There was a lot of people there still pulling the '80s gimmick, like or standard guy, just black pair of trunks, his gut hanging out, and some guys like, oh, I've been in business 15 years, I deserve respect. But like, what is it? Like, I get you've been around, but like, dude, sometimes you have to hang those boots up. Like, don't just think you're getting respect. And at the same time, you got to respect because, you know, Larry Winters was there. I mean, he was such a good dude. You know,
such a good dude. Always wanted to give advice, and I don't think I knew the extent of his career when I was there.
I didn't either.
But after he passed, man, I went and I dove deep, and I'm like, I really got privileged to sit under his learning tree.
He's actually, if I could hit stop and rewind, I would have probably have tried to be more of his friend in real life, even just to get more knowledge.
Yeah.
You know, because when we came in, like, you knew,
yeah,
we were faster, more slick. We were kind of trying to go with the new generation. We did see some of these, like, Demetrius and all these guys, like these dinosaur moving guys and stuff.
Yeah.
Physique, but like, dude, you can't wrestle. You just can't. Like, it takes you 9 seconds to bump because that's how slow you are.
It just like watching a tree. Well, we were some of the people like that had a juniors division well in advance of the indies really doing it. When you were saying like some of those 80s guys were still bouncing around the indies, but we had a lot of small dudes. And I know because in the area, CZW also had a lot of small dudes like Rick Blade. I'm, 5'7" on a good day, and I towered over Rick Blade. So it was good to see,
the first show was Kathy Bell's show, which I think was called WWWA at the time. So that was May 22nd, 1999. So that was the first time me, Garrett, Dominance, and Supremely Great, we debuted together. And I remember going in there, and we're like, I think we were wearing 2 T-shirts. Like, we were trying to, because we're like, we're going to be so small. Like, everybody's going to be like, why are they? And then we go in, we're like, people are smaller than us. Like, wow, this is a big relief. Like, I didn't know. I didn't know if they were almost going to say, like, we can't put you guys got to come back with another 20, 30 pounds on you. Like, we can't book you. That's what we were thinking.
That's why I never gave height and weight when I was announcing. I'm like, because it's going to look stupid when I announce you as 6 feet tall and I'm bigger than you.
Yeah.
Like, and I announce you as 300 pounds and you're, clearly pushing 4. Like, let's just take that away. Let's not insult people's intelligence. And let's just, I'll say where you're from, whatever amount of nicknames you want to give me. If you have a fun gimmick weight, like Pinky Sanchez used to come out and he was like one sexy megaton or something like that. Yeah. That's fine. But like, let's keep some of the myth alive there, not showing.
You're right. And look at when Garrett was wrestling like Davey Testament. What was Davey? Like 140 pounds. Like, he was, you didn't want to say that, but the dude could fly. The guy could go.
Yeah. He was quick. He was really quick. Yeah. I enjoyed his and Garrett's matches.
Yeah.
Who was my buddy worked with him at Best Buy. Hardcore Kevin Brady, the other half of the announce team. Best man at my wedding. We're ride or die.
Family member.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the family.
That never lost matches.
Ever. Jade, what was his name? His
Jade, Freddie Jade.
Yeah, dude was quick too. Freddie. He used to work at the Best Buy that's over by South.
I think he was definitely in that 3-way Texas tornado match we had. Like, so yeah, I think he might have been the guy I wrestled twice, like with Garrett and Captain Rick, but definitely once. I know that. I'd have to rethink this over here, but yeah, then he like retired. Like in the middle of that, he's like, he retired. Like, okay.
Sometimes you just you feel it, and you're just like, I can't keep doing this. And that's what I realized. I'm like, man, I am trash, and my body hurts. I'm like, I'm 20 some odd years old. It's not supposed to feel like this, crawling almost to a bus in Northeast Philly. And I was like,
dude, it's the weirdest thing to say, because when I got done with wrestling, I did my attempt at MMA, and it just like wrestling, I didn't put all my effort into it. Like, but Garrett was going to like wrestling classes, and I'd be like, it's wing night. I'm going here, and he'd go back to class the next day. I got to see the girl I'm seeing, because I looked at it, I was a manager. I only need to know so much, but that's me being a naive kid.
Yeah.
So you saw, we clicked, everything went cool, but I didn't I didn't go for it.
Yeah.
And when I jumped into the MMA, I never left the smoker level. I was still doing the same thing, going to every concert, girl, whatever, this and that. So I didn't dedicate myself and all that. So that's why I'm so crazy in the film, because I looked at like, dude, you got 2 strikes. You're not stopping this time.
Yeah, find your passion and go for it.
But wrestling was. It's weird because when I left, I didn't regret any of it. I kind of knew I could get back in. I thought I knew enough of you that I could make a phone call a year later. It just didn't happen. I had too many other, and I kind of look at the sacrificial thing of wrestling and the MMA, all that, screw it, I'm going to go here instead. It actually came around because I know so many places, I know so many people, that it's helping me produce movies a million times better.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
I always say, like, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, it's family.
Yeah.
And so many of the people that are involved in the independent film in the Philadelphia area, in the Jersey area, have ties to wrestling. One of my buddies put out a movie, and he had, meanies in it, dreamers in it. And they're always around this because it's an easy transition. You're acting already. You're already acting, and you're improving at that. Was
that Mancation that you were talking about?
Yeah, that movie's about. You were in that too. That movie's
about. I was about to say, yeah.
I just realized that. Yeah,
I'm in the party. That's when I first started. That's like the 3rd thing I ever did. A friend of mine called and goes, Isn't the Wonder Years your favorite show ever? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, how would you like to be in a movie at Winnie Cooper? I'm like, where do I go right now? Like,
so that movie's about a trip Brady and I took. If Joey Fatone's character is named Brady, that's Kevin Brady that I worked with.
Wow.
I'm the very effeminate guy in the movie.
So you're Steve Medvedic's character.
Yep.
And he's in the Dark Military. That's how I met him.
You should tell him that he played me in a movie once.
Okay. And believe it or not, that's Steve's his name. And when we got to that movie set, like, you got Joey Fatone, you got Danica McKellar and all that.
Yeah.
They had all us extras, and that's what I was, in this like far room downstairs. And Steve came up and shook everyone's hand. I was like, I like him. If I ever become a film guy someday, a director, I want him in my movie. And it happened, So I'm always taking notes. I was always, keep an eye. And it was weird because wrestling, I knew I could never stay and be a wrestler like full time. I could be a guy you could throw in a tag match or get knocked around, but I just knew my body.
Oh yeah,
my body's strong. It's athletic, but it's not built for the damage. And when I went to MMA, people would be like, "That sounds insane." No, it was weird. It was safer because wrestling is respectfully a choreographed stunt show.
Yeah,
and when there's 2 guys that are sweaty, and you're putting your life in the other person's hands to do these moves, there's mess ups. And it was really heavy shock in my body sometimes. Like, because I wasn't trained properly. I shouldn't even have been in there a lot of times. Of if I fell the wrong way, I'm at the chiropractor for the next month 3 times a week. Like, I'm like, what'd you do? Be like, fell into a move the wrong way. It's like when believe it or not, punching people or getting punched. Believe it or not, that's the standard. Like, all right,
whatever.
You won or he won. All right, you got a black eye. Like, it's not long term.
Somebody is going to stop it before you're in a position where you're breaking your neck.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to stop it before you tweak that vertebrae. It for me, like I loved it. It was absolutely like a drug, and my wife can tell you that there were so many times I'm like, I just don't want to do this show. I don't want to be here. And then I get there, and then the adrenaline and being in front of the crowd, and it's like, I guess I could do this next month too.
Yeah.
It gets you. And I hate the fans. Like, I hate wrestling fans so much.
That's the true reason I stopped was the fans, because no one was and it's probably way worse now. I mean, if I stopped in 2004, everybody doesn't leave the show saying, wow, I appreciate everything you did. You took me out of reality. Hey, you're coming up. They're Vince McMahon. Everybody's Vince McMahon. Like, here's what you should do. Yeah. I'd like to see a little more of this side of you, a little like, yo, man. Like, do you like this or you don't like it? Like,
the familiarity with the wrestlers, I think, we go back to like the click and the curtain being drawn back, and so many people just thought they knew us, and it was just like, man, I played a face my entire career, never got to heel once, and there's so much I want to say about the audience that I just abhorred. If you're in Connecticut and you're a fan of Defiant Pro Wrestling or Connecticut Wrestling Entertainment, please know that, yes, I did in fact hate you.
Well, I don't know how you got to be the good guy commentator.
I don't either.
What was the fun of that? Like, you have to say nice things. You and Mike Marcavage was like, you guys did it good, but like, you want to go out and have fun. You want to be that Jesse Ventura. I always said the early 80s. That's always what I just modeled the Loren show a little bit after that,
Yeah, you want to be that heel. I think, and if my boy Kevin Brady is watching, he kind of lives his life more as a heel than I do, and so it just came across more naturally. Plus, nobody wants to see the heel announcers. You're not going to get pathos from that. So I'm learning to bump. I'm out in there, and I'm the good guy, and all you bad guys get to lump me up and get you cheap heat.
Yes. I did it 6-7 times with you. It was the same show. It was just like, all right, we're just going to go on.
It really felt like the same show. I cannot differentiate any of them. There's like 2 or 3 of them like, oh, these are in much different locations.
That's it. It was just the location. It was just like, at this particular time, go out, beat up Hackett, do the Lord show.
Throw them. Yep.
Yeah. The security guys will come get you out after a match, and, we'll set you up for a match one day. I'm like, that's never going to happen.
See, you're better than me, man. I believe that was going to happen.
Oh, I
was like, yeah, long term.
I would have did it. Whatever they told me, if you could have ran Blue right through me, I would have laid down. But I just like, it was the way Rick booked the shows. I was just like, this is never going to happen, Yeah. And I was sitting there, I'm like, the family's never going to have the show where all the faces go over and get over. It's never going to happen. I think by the end, even Cujo came with us. I was just like, where are we going with this? It's like,
you can't have the whole locker room on one side.
Here comes Joey Rizzo's with us now. And I didn't even get the memogram of me watching the back. We're like, who are we going to wrestle next time? Oh, everybody's with us.
Oh, man. Oh, Cujo, that dude came with some intensity to the ring.
Yeah, I mean, he was painting his face in the early 2000s. I was like, he was a nice guy, but he was just dressed like Raven to me and had face paint.
Yeah. Well, and then we had the dude, the Smoke.
Oh, dude, I couldn't stand that. That was
one good.
I drew the line with that. I'm like, this is what you came up with.
It's a bridge too far.
You're gonna impersonate and literally talk and change a little bit of the language, and what? We're supposed to think this is okay?
That you're his cousin? Come on. We all know his cousins. They have a company up the street. And if Pops heard what you were doing, you would not be in a standing position.
And then at the other end, you had what? Stone Cold Chad Austin, big Slam Vader, who had no athletic ability at all.
Did you work with the oh God, was he the Gravedigger who wore like a Michael Myers mask and the Taker gloves?
The Cremator.
The Cremator.
Yeah, he was just the Undertaker, but he had a Michael Myers mask,
yeah.
which somehow he did it up that it never fell off. So he was out of Hazleton too, I believe.
Yeah. We did a show there. It was like at like an almost a half indoor, half outdoor facility. I remember that show for some reason. And Ron Starr looks amazing right now. He's completely reinvented himself, and he's still going. He has to be pushing 50.
I had no idea. Wow, he still
looks great. He looks phenomenal.
Wow,
he's out there teaching these young kids a little something,
Yeah, I mean, Ron beat me up, but it was one of those people trying the actual good guys that weren't part of the family, like Melee at one point. Yeah. But I got along with Ron. He was okay. Yeah.
It was Ron and Shaka and Brick Wall at that point in time were the only three faces that I can remember consistently. It was those guys.
Shaka, two things I always remember. Dude, wow, can he talk? Wow. Like he doesn't get hoarse at all. Like he could talk. And I remember we did a run-in on him where we were supposed to beat on him and Brick Wall Bradley. Then they were supposed to, give it back to us to clear the ring. Dude, he was hitting me with forearms. And I'm seeing flashes like, dude, this is the simplest. Stop hitting me. Like he's hitting me with I saw a few flashes. I hit him back. I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Wrestling. Stop hitting me with your freaking forearm like that.
You'll be happy to know that later in life, he went on to kickbox Muay Thai and win a championship in like his mid 40s. Became a
good for him. I didn't know. I had no idea of that.
Yeah. Brick Wall ran for office several times. I don't know if he's ever won, but he ran for office a bunch.
Like what office?
A couple different ones, not like any federal, but a couple local
like
offices.
City council stuff like that.
Yeah, but a couple state senators and things like that.
Wow.
He was back home in Wisconsin. I think he might still be out there. But yeah, I mean, I stay in touch with a lot of these people, and it was such a crazy time to look back at and see kind of everything, because there was something we never knew what was going to happen. Like we would have a show in South Philly and no one would show up. And then we had that show with the Holmesville or
Holmesdale. Right by my house at the time. Yeah.
And
everyone came out.
It's like 300 people, if not, in that little gym. And then the next month we would have nobody again. So you never know what you were going to get.
It was weird. Philly was this, I don't know if it was just like, was there an Eagle game? Was there another wrestling event? Right place. It was always weird. And then like we were at that one location with the most CWF shows, 17th and Fitzwater on whatever building that just never seemed to fill.
Yeah.
It just that one. But then we did another one. Rick got that other location where Garrett won the belt, and that was like near Manayunk, and that did okay. Yep. That over there. So like you just don't know.
Yeah. No, you never knew. And it's, man, you're one slip from not walking right for the rest of your life. And it's just like, I'll be out here. And you know what? When I do a spot, it gets a huge pop. So I finally got my comeuppance on at least a couple people. I got to elbow drop my broadcast colleague after years of verbal abuse at his hands.
You beat up Kevin Brady?
No, my other guy. Brady was out of the business by then. He was back home in Jersey. But I got to drop an elbow, man. I don't know if it was WrestleMania, but it felt like every light bulb popped, and it was just so good. And that's what's cool is if you don't do it a lot and then you pull something out, it means a lot more.
Yeah. It was weird, dude, because when that all happened, when those doors shut, man, I didn't even start thinking about my wrestling until like 2020 when we all of a sudden had a lot of downtime. That era started kind of coming back in my head. It was weird out of the blue,
Yeah, I never really stopped thinking about it. You know, I still do a show with about wrestling, and it's always fun to talk about. It feels good to talk about it. Every now and then, it's just that a little itch, and you're like, yeah, maybe I could just go get booked somewhere and announce for a show. And I had already bought tickets to my buddy's company, and he sent out a message to like, hey, I really need a ring announcer, and I was like, you're having a show at a brewery, and I have a ride. I'm like, I'm just gonna drink. I'm gonna drink. You get someone else. I'm good. I bought a ticket. I'm supporting everybody in the back, and let me just have beers. And by the way, if you're in the Massachusetts area, 2 weeks notice brewery, fantastic beers. A couple of them named after Bouncing Soul songs. So you know, good stuff there.
Nice.
Yeah, they didn't pay me or anything. I should go get a free beer though.
Yeah, it was the only time I was very like serious about wrestling. Like I would never drink or do anything beforehand.
No, me either.
I took it as like, you know, someone else's life is in your hand, and or you can hurt yourself. You know, I can never Sandman that, but I remember when I was doing the Glow wrestling thing for a little bit when the promoter I worked for added a second O, gorgeous ladies of outrageous wrestling. And like there I am getting beat up by Nicole Bass. All that like we were like, these girls are so untrained that we had to go in and get beat up for them. Like even the guys being trained would make them look a million times better. So me, Garrett, like Stu Jeremy and Supreme League, like we'd be the ring crew to going in to break up a girl fight, and they kick our asses. But those shows were so bad. Like we were drinking. We're like drinking. Time we drop our beer, run out, get DDT. This is all the girls could do with our DDT. So I was like, we're fine. It's not like we have to whip our body up. Yeah, it was crazy. But like Little Jeannie came through there. Shannon Hall, the American Gladiator, came through there. It was weird because a lot of those girls also were strippers. So it's like, Ryan Shamrock came through there like right after she left the WWF. So it was cool. Wrestling Nicole Bass getting chokeslammed by her, that was pretty cool. That's on that is actually on my YouTube page. Nicole Bass beating us all up. It was called Nicole Bass Destroys Everyone, I think is what it's called.
Oh man, man, if you haven't been in it, like I imagine, I was listening to you all talk about your experiences in film and the horror movie fans, like I know of it. I love slashers. You know, I'm a big Jason guy.
That's me. Yeah.
I was just like, I don't know what this world is, but I can appreciate it. There's so many people who think they know what the world of wrestling is, and they just don't. You know,
you're right.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the whole horror movie fan. Sometimes I didn't go into this part, but they're not as smart as they think because be like, oh, this movie was stupid, and be like, tell me what you didn't like, and you'd be like, this was never explained. I'd be like, that was explained, and here's the part. You just weren't smart enough to pick it up. So take a step back before with this comment, you know, like, and then you explain it to them and, you know, like, oh, I didn't know. Yeah. So maybe you could reassess what your opinion now is. Like, you're not as smart as you think.
Oh, you're always looking at something with a critical eye, you know. Like I was saying, I went to a show for the first time. I went to see AEW, and I'm just there as a fan, and I'm enjoying myself. And then there's something that pulls me out of it, and I'm like, oh God, this is just not right. The way
AEW, when it dropped, I saw the first two shows, and then that was it. And it wasn't that I didn't enjoy it. It's just not stuck in my head like what day it was. I still don't know the day and the time, but I want to see that part of history of like, cool. Yeah. There's another company that has enough money when the production value.
Yep.
Cool.
And they just bought Ring of Honor today.
They actually bought it?
Bought Ring of Honor.
Wow. So are they bringing everybody in?
There was nobody left under contract at Ring of Honor at the end. All their contracts, were gone. But
so they could bring in they could easily say like, "Hey, Briscoe brothers, come on over." All that.
Yeah. And it's just
What's the name of the Ring of Honor crew? The dude. Oh gosh, I should know this. I hope she doesn't get mad. The dude with the long dreadlocks. He's like a cult leader.
Oh my God, yes, I can't think of it either.
Well, part of his crew.
Yeah.
There's the girl Viva Star. I'm trying to think of that hangs with her. Hangs with that group. Mm-hmm. She's in my Dark Military movie. Yeah. It's like it's a small world how that works out.
Oh yeah. I mean, everybody always wants to be something else. So if you're a baseball player, you want to be a musician. If you're a wrestler, you want to act. If you're a rapper, you want to act. It's
what happened with Ring of Honor though? Because that was one of the elite for like was it all what they overspend? Was it just bad? They owed more than
something with Sinclair couldn't like keep up, and they just closed it. They said they were gonna come back, but everybody was talking about just the tape library alone. I mean, their library goes back to 2000, 2002. And between that and what else AEW can buy that WWE doesn't have, I mean, they could start a streaming service or put content on HBO Max, which has been the rumor. So, it's a smart investment, I think.
Vince hasn't had another billionaire, to throw money around to fight against in a while. I don't know, like, is Vince just borrowed an ECW page and saved his company. In the 90s. Does he know what to do now, or do you think do you think he's just kind of like a dumb guy? He should almost sell the company.
Yes, 100%.
Because he's done enough. Like that to me, that's not a failure, dude. You are wrestling, like you really are. But like there comes a time where are you going to be Jerry Jones of the Cowboys?
Good comparison.
You're never going to win ever because
you're stuck in the past.
Yeah.
Like, what's his name? I mean, the Raiders finally got good when Al Davis died, and they stopped drafting just the fastest player. Vince books for Vince alone, and I think he's the only one at this point in time. You want to talk about seeing the same thing over and over again. Like, I don't need to see Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. I don't need to see that, just like I don't need to see Scream 7.
Yeah.
I've heard the 5th one has mixed reviews, but, like, I don't need 2 more if you're getting mixed reviews on that. Like, it's just... Vince has been the business, and he should step aside. And we all thought it was going to be Triple H, for that seemed to have fallen by the wayside.
So that means only one thing: Vince doesn't trust him.
No, or he thinks he's weak because he had a heart attack and was in the hospital. And Vince doesn't like people who get sick or hurt.
Triple H had a heart attack. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Fun story.
From what though? Like what? He looks like the most healthiest guy. What
I mean, stress. Yeah, I guess stress. Fun story. I literally checked into the cardiac unit shortly after Triple H checked out and got myself checked out. Wow. I was literally reading it that day. I'm like, oh, hey, Triple H was in the hospital over here. And then I started to have chest pains and went down there myself.
Copycat.
Yeah, I just want to be like him. I got the knee pads and everything.
Shit.
I took a water bottle, just sprayed it all over the nurses.
And Vince is what, 73, 74?
You got to be pushing 80, right?
Oh, man. I mean, I know. And I remember for like ever, I don't know if he still does, like he was only sleeping 2 hours a day, like because he's so hands-on. Like how much does a human body take?
Yeah. 76 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, dude, just let it go, man. Like, rest. You have enough. When's enough? I think about that with so many people, especially like people like Sting. Man, you're a legend. What is keeping you there? Why are you there, making me nervous for you?
Is he actually wrestling, or is he more of managing?
He's doing a couple spots here and there.
Yeah.
So he came out at the end of the show, did a couple like Scorpion Death drops and Sting like stuff. But he has a match coming up at their pay-per-view in March, and it's just like he has nothing
at all left to do. And I think it was disgusting that he even went up to Vince, and then what does he do? They job him out the hunt. I'm like, what was that? After all this, I'm like, I heard that. I didn't even watch the match.
Everybody wanted that too. Everybody wanted Sting and Taker. That's all anybody wanted. Like, why did we need to deviate from that? We wanted the 2 franchise players, and we wanted them head to head, and you didn't give us that. Instead, you let Seth Rollins throw a 60-year-old man into a turnbuckle. Mm-hmm. Like, how did you think that was going to turn out?
Do you believe this is the only wrestling I've seen out of Vince is the Royal Rumble? I've always the actual
it's my
match,
favorite. It's my favorite.
The actual match itself, not all the preliminaries. I don't do that, but I don't know if it's just me being so far removed, but 20 out of those 30 guys, when they come through the curtain, they don't look like they're trying. They look at like the jig's up. I talk to you guys on Twitter every day. So like, why even come to the ring in a character?
You know how much I hate being here. I tweet about it all the time that I want to be released. Yeah, here I come.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently the morale is terrible there right now. For the longest time, it was the only show in town. If you wanted to make a payday, I mean, you've been through it. It's usually a handshake and a hot dog at the end of the night. Sorry, house was light.
You know what's funny, dude? When you say that, the first 4 shows I ever did, we got paid. I think it was like Garrett and John or Supreme Great got like $25. Yeah. I made 20. So the first 4 shows, so for all the veterans out there, I'm sure that this sends them through the roof. Like, oh God, why'd they get paid? But after that, it came to streak of nothing.
Yep.
Like you paid to be in shows. Like we'd be going to Ricky O's shows up in JCW in North Jersey. It's like you're paying for that gas.
Yep.
Half the time you got booked, the other half you're hanging out, and not getting booked. Like because one of the big double-edged swords Garrett and I had is we didn't belong to any wrestling school.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't belong to a wrestling school and you show up, their guy's going to beat you.
Yep.
You're never going to get a push. But then again, you don't have to answer to anybody. Yeah, there were companies like, if you work here, you can't work over there. But like,
we have that in Connecticut, and I don't understand it. Are you paying me for those lost dates?
Sure. Like, you're drawing 75 people. They're drawing 75 people. You think we're going to listen to this shit?
When I first broke in, so I actually broke into the business. I was a junior in high school. This is before I was doing anything official. I was doing videography and stuff like that. And we had a thing where New England, I don't remember if it was NWA New England or something like that, had 3 guys. It's Ron Zombie, Curtis Slam Dog, and the Mercenary. And they said that they couldn't do shows for anybody else except for them. So they started coming to Connecticut Championship Wrestling as Michael Myers for Slam Dog. Oh man, what was Ron Zombie? He did like a ninja gimmick that's based in like 70s exploitation films. And then the Mercenary became the Unknown Soldier. So literally everyone knew who the 3 people were. And that's how they got around it. But like, if you're not paying me, I have no loyalty to not work a show.
We're not under contract. You're not guaranteed. Do you have television time for us? Like, you know what I mean? Like, really, like, are we going to be seen on TV that this one doesn't? That, okay, it's more attractive. But it was all those companies were big dick contests. It's all it was. My dick's bigger. My students are better than yours. Mm-hmm. And a lot of this happens. I see this happen in the MMA world where it's like the same thing with wrestling. Like, there'll be a top trainer, and then their under guys are only good to a certain point, but they can wrestle. Or in MMA, they get a belt rank, and then there's a falling out. So the one guy says, "Oh, screw it, I'll start my own school." It's like, you're not done.
Yep,
you are not done. You are not. You're not a bazillion to set your black belt. You're not a boxing black belt, but like you're going to open a school, so you are going to be able to train people to a point.
Yeah.
That's it, to a point.
Diminishing returns from then
on. And wrestling was the same way. Like, hey, I know how to wrestle a little bit. I'll open up a gym over here. Like, I remember like Hard Rock Hamilton had one. It was just like, yo, dude, you're freaking horrible. This is horrible. Like, who are you training?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and then they'll bring their personal crew with them, try and get them booked on a show.
That stuff in the indies sent me through the roof, especially when, like, look, I don't care. I don't care what today's world. Some guy would bring his girlfriend as to be a valet. And she's not in shape. She was straight up fat. Like, you don't belong. And it wasn't like it was part of the gimmick, like she's selling herself or something.
No.
It's like, you are untrained. You're untrained. And they want to get involved with the match. That's called danger.
Yep.
You're not trained. You don't belong in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's man, it's just such a weird place because it always feels like somebody's always working you. whoever's training you is building you up, thinking you're going to be a good thing, and you're giving them free labor, and they're, training you. And it's a weird existence. But I have very little respect for people who get in the ring not nearly trained enough.
There was some, even I was on board like, hey, this guy's like my brother. He's always wanted to be involved with a match, so he's going to manage. We're like, we'll keep him on the other side of the ring. He's like, well, no, he wants to come in and get in with you. I was like, I'm not letting this guy throw a punch at me. I was like, I'm letting you know right now, if he throws a punch at me and he hits me for real, you're gonna have a New Jack situation, because I'm gonna welcome to the wrestling business. Like, stay on the other side of the ring. Don't touch me. Yeah.
Or have your brother pay, and then maybe you can get a payday and you buy your brother a hot dog and say, hey, thanks for coming out.
I remember you may have worked this show. There was this big fat blonde girl that managed. I'm trying to remember. For some odd reason, it wasn't Ron Starr, but was somebody Ron Starr might have been bringing up, and she wanted to hit everybody.
So I was not at that show.
Running around and like slap. So whoever this wrestler was, God, I have it on tape. I gotta go through my collection, but she was this guy was wrestling downtown Raphael.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And she ran up and tried to slapped him, and he actually grabbed the chair for real. I'm like, damn right. Like, this damn right. Like, get the hell out of here. And she like ran like back, like covering her head, like, oh, why did he hit me back? Like, no,
it was one of my first lessons in the business is you don't do anything to downtown Raphael. That man was crazy.
Yeah, he was fun.
Oh yeah, a blast. But you shake his hand, and if you're not in a match with him, you just, hi Raphael, hey, it's good to see you. Yep, all right. Please don't hit me. He always wanted to hit Shaka too. I kill the Shaka. Like, what did Red do to you?
What it was though too was a lot of, not just that company, but a lot of them, they didn't police their locker room.
No,
you should have been like, this is my girlfriend. Girlfriend can't come back here.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Little brother can't come back here. Your boy isn't just going to come back here. Like, he has, there was always a section for that.
Yep.
So that's the problem when people aren't, I always say, not real wrestling people. Like, ever, like, real wrestling people. Like, no, you didn't do that. It was like weird because, like, me being around the ECW locker room, like, I saw how that shit flowed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
A real locker room, Yeah.
And, when I was here in Connecticut, Jason Knight was in our locker room, and none of that happened. Mm-hmm. You didn't do anything that would piss the old man off. And that's how you run a locker room. That's how you make sure you keep your ship tight. You want to be professional. It's professional wrestling. That's why people are coming out here. You're professional entertainers. Make the product look good. Make each other look good. Too many people worried about just making themselves look good. Like, build a brand with that company, and you're going to increase their profile. They're going to increase yours, and then you get more money. That's how this works.
That's all it is about is making money.
Yeah.
So that's what you're supposed to be doing. They were all weird. And all awesome at the same time. Like, I know I wrestled. I was on 2 shows with CM Punk, even though I never talked to the guy.
Was I on a show?
No,
okay.
It was
all right.
It was JCW. So like, yeah, okay. Like Reckless Youth, the American Dragon, and all that stuff. And Garrett and I tried to jump in to the Ring of Honor thing when that first happened, back when Feinstein was running it.
Yep.
We tried to go in then, and that was kind of like a demon of the past when you don't realize, like, he doesn't own the company anyway, but we all know what happened with him and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But when we were all in ECW together, Garrett and I made fun of Rob a lot, like a lot. Like, we were friends.
Yeah.
We rode him a lot. And then he puts together this ultimate company where he's got all this respect from all the top wrestlers across the country, and now we go to him wanting a job.
Oh,
what do you think he said?
Oh, that time you made fun of me.
I guess it's called live and learn. Like, you didn't. And he didn't say anything really insulting. He just said, "I don't have room. I can't have you in here." And we're like, "Holy crap! He's not letting us in the locker room even." Like we were shit. And then he actually said before he walked away, "You two are still trying to do this. That's kind of funny." And we're like,
"Wow."
I was like, wow. I called that. I call it the Goodfellas moment when Joe actually got killed. Like we just had to sit there and take it.
Yep.
Because I mean, what are we gonna do? Go pop him in the head and run away? Like we still want in. We got to just eat that comment and try to.
But think about
funny. And then he made the news. He made the news not even a month later. I was like, that piece of shit.
I knew it the whole time.
Yeah.
That's funny. I mean, thinking about it, you're still trying to make this, and you were what, early 20s at that point in time? It
really was. What he should have said was, and what he was trying to say was, look, how do you like me now? But it also looked at like being the way we behave sometimes, because we were goofy. We were two goofy dudes. We were young kids. We laughed at everything. Yeah. So that caught up with you. Like maybe we could have got in there with that. Or
I ran my mouth on message boards when I was a worker and made stupid mistakes that probably cost me money, that probably cost me chances to be in different higher profile companies. But you're young and stupid. It happens.
Yep.
You never think that somebody's really going to make it big. Like I remember Sasha Banks, her last match. And I was fortunate enough to get to call it. And I didn't see it with Sasha. And I couldn't be more wrong. She has that star quality. And, sometimes you just got your head up your butt. And you can't see the forest for the trees.
That's also the journey of life in anything, though.
Yeah.
I mean? That's like being in a band and saying something to like the owner of the bar, like, "Hey, why come there's no one here?" And you don't realize like this guy owns multiple bars and you just pissed him off. He's going to make a phone call and you're not playing anywhere now, you just don't know. There is a trial and error of maturity.
Yeah, trial and error, and you see how much stupid shit you can say with getting away with it and see what comes back to bite you in the ass.
Yeah.
Like, I probably shouldn't have said that. I probably shouldn't have said that the booker of another company finally returned my calls when he realized I worked for Clear Channel and he worked at the Connecticut School of Broadcasting and I could help him out, but didn't return my calls. I still don't like that guy. I don't really care.
There's things like unforgivable, dude.
Oh, yeah.
That cross you and shit.
Oh, yeah.
Believe me, like the wrestling thing was really me and Garrett, and then we stepped in and we stepped out. We didn't really hang out with wrestlers outside because, truth be told, we saw how ECW was. We kind of always knew like a lot of the mindsets of the locker room when they were in for a rude awakening. So we were kind of we were advanced in a way with knowledge. So what are we going to learn knowledge-wise from any of these people here? That was that I stand behind. Now maybe showing some of these people still respect, that's on us. Not talking to Larry Winters and all of them more like that's on us. But I always valued when like Nikolai Volkov, I got to work show with him, Jimmy Snuka, any of those names, like wow, I grew up watching these people, and here I am now sharing. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. One of the last shows I did, I got to intro Kevin Nash, and growing up in the era that we did, that's one of the biggest stars. And I got to be in the locker room with him. I got to shake his hand. I got to shake Bobby Lashley's hand and have his hand just cover the entirety of my arm. It's giant mitt. And those are the moments that once you're a little smarter, you're a little older, you can step back and say, man, all that time in an ink factory in Northeast Philadelphia where I'm getting my butt kicked by Rick with a cane for not hitting the spot right, eventually led me to being here with somebody that I have so much respect for, that I got to see as the freaking super shredder. And I got to call that match. And, those are the moments you live for. And that's why I stayed doing it for 20 some odd years.
So what would you say your beginning, your middle, or your end was more of your favorite?
I think the end was more of my favorite. The beginning was tough, man. I mean, being a college student and training as a wrestler and doing all the other stuff. I mean, I don't know if you remember, I was a cheerleader in college. So I'm balancing booking on shows, going to cheer, going to practice, working at the radio station. I have no idea how I functioned. The middle was tough. I made some of my closest friends in the middle, and I loved working for DPW, Defiant Pro Wrestling. They were family, you know.
Yeah.
But once I got to just do the business stuff and just kind of pop in and out of shows, like the end of my career was great. I worked for CTWE. They were doing big things. I got to see people either coming up or coming down from the E, and it was just a lot of fun. And it was no stress for me because I went out there, I did my job, and I went home.
You have Shakara? Is that
I actually called a Shakara trios match, and I did not know how to pronounce it and said Shakira and got the pants booed off of me in that building.
I think I just said it wrong. So yeah.
I think it is Shakara. They shut down.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. You can Google that one and go down that rabbit hole, similar to Feinstein.
Oh, real? Oh, similar. Jeez, really?
Yeah.
Oh, man, dude.
Yeah, I know.
I worked. They came to the Trocadero 2 or 3 times, so I was working the Trocadero, not wrestling. I'm out.
No, yeah, you shoot.
I worked at the Trocadero from 2007 till closing in 2019. That's where I ran my film festivals. But when I saw wrestling was coming, I was like, I'm not going to be like one of them guys like, oh, I can't, you know, if I go, I have to be the old veteran wrestler. It's like, no, I was like, I could work that. Yeah. And I was there I noticed made a lot of noise. There was Eddie, their champion, Eddie, was about to lose the world title to, I think, a guy named Icarus, if I remember right.
Yeah.
And the lights went out and all the security came in and threw everybody out of the building. And on the way out, one of the fans got so crazy in the moment, he kicked the Trocadero glass door, and it shattered. And Meanie hit me up. I was getting hit it turned into the fans trashed the Trocadero. it went way out of hand. But it was good publicity because that must have never been done. It was like, 1, 2, the lights came out, and here comes 30 guys dressed in black telling everyone the show's over and push them out of the building. And we got down to the final 2, and one guy's at the ticket booth yelling, not so much yelling at the Trocadero staff, which I'm one of them. He's just like, this is I want my money back. Like you can't stop a show and throw a fan out. And then the one cat goes, son of a bitches, you can't throw me out. And when he kicked the door and it shatters, the guy went from oh no, did I just do that? I'm sorry, I'll pay for it. Like he the reality check hit. I remember I went up and I looked at him when he did it, and he's just like, you calling the cops? I'm like, we got to do a report on this, man. And it's like, and I whispered in his ear, I was like, dude, is this your first show? And he's like, I feel so stupid. Like he's up the court, and there's a crowd out there. Like us, the Trocadero staff going to beat this guy. Nothing like that. But everybody's like, what happened? I'm like, there's someone who got carried away in the storyline. I hope you had a good night. Come again. Yeah.
The worst, man, is ever getting recognized when you're just going to a show as a fan. Mm-hmm. When I was really into TNA, and I was right in the middle part of my career when I was working for DPW. And, Nikki Rocks was there, and she's fantastic. And one of the fans from DPW spotted me, and I was with my friends, and I was so embarrassed. And then they just kept calling out my ring name. And they were like, look, it's Cece LaSalle right here. And I'm like, please stop. Please just let me be a mark in peace. Like, you guys are the worst.
You got to put your hoodie up for that one.
And it doesn't help if I went out like this. And that's my ring name on my sweater, like a dummy.
Gotcha. Wow, that sucks. So they're gone. Ring of Honor's gone. Mm-hmm. Who's considered third place?
I mean, I guess it would probably be Pro Wrestling Guerrilla out of LA, but they run so infrequently.
And is XPW back?
No. If it is, it'd be news to me.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
They had their on Dark Side of the Ring. They did a bit on
Did they?
XPW.
I didn't know they had that yet.
Yeah.
I don't know if I saw the second half of season 3 yet. So
yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in there. It's a good watch if you just want to have a little bit of wrestling and remember the good old days without having to stream 72 hours.
Watching those dark, like I knew 92%, but there was a few things I'm like, I don't even know the story. I'm actually excited. Like, you know, like
yeah, Gina Hernandez.
I didn't know about the Fabulous Moolah. I didn't know about that.
Oh God,
I never knew that.
Yeah, that one was tough to watch.
Yeah,
yeah. The Gina Hernandez one, I didn't know any of that stuff.
I didn't know that either. Crazy. I didn't know the guy from UWF. Like I knew UW, but I didn't know it was run by a crazy guy.
Did you get booked? UWF tried to come back while we were in the business. Did you get booked by them? Were you at that show? Yeah. That's the only company that's ever fired me. It was also my biggest payday. They gave me $100.
Look at you.
I know.
But you were a commentator, right?
Yeah.
Well, you guys should get a little more than the puny $20. I mean, that's because we're out there 10 minutes, you know, and you're gone, you know. But you know, you guys are there. You got to keep it fresh.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and you gotta try and make it look like you're enjoying a match, even if it's the worst thing you've ever seen. Which there's been plenty of times with that.
Do you have a particular show that was just the worst?
Were you at what we called Mattress Mayhem? So Deacon Frost, is that a person?
Oh, I know the name from Blade, obviously, but
yeah,
who the wrestler was.
Yeah. So we were supposed to do a show right after ECW ended. It was at the Boys and Girls Club in Camden, and a lot of the ECW guys couldn't make the show. So they canceled the show and rescheduled it.
That wasn't Reggie's show, right?
It might have been Reggie's show. I just remember Deacon Frost.
I could go on with Reggie forever. Like I know he did a lot of shady shit, but like he was our Paul E as far as like just full of shit. Just we know you're lying to us. We're gonna show up anyway.
And so he lost the venue after that, and then they got this mattress factory in the streets of Camden, and we all got paid by a drug dealer. Like it might have been Reggie. I don't remember. So if I'm blaspheming anybody, I apologize.
And he's still going. I saw he's out of jail and he's got a company. He's in my friends list. I was like, that's
funny.
And he's doing like streaming, and I think he's wrestling at like in his early 50s. And like his whole thing was basically he wanted to be New Jack, but also not let you get any heat on him at all.
Yeah.
So he used to always tell me and Gary, like, you guys are gonna blade, right? All three of us. We're gonna get color tonight, right? And like he would never do it. So we would never do it. like you go first, you know. Like blood's so bad, you go first, you know. Like
I'll follow right behind you.
It was just ridiculous. Like this, what he wanted to do. Like he didn't want to do an XPW, CZW, you know, New Japan shit. He wanted to do just all that, but he wanted you to fall in the broken glass. You know, like he wouldn't fall in the broken. You know. Light yourself on fire for me, you know.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah,
that's not worth $25, sir. No. I'm sorry.
No.
But so then we were at this. It was in Camden, and we all got paid by drug dealers. It was a good payday, but the show was one of the worst things I've ever seen, and we were booking it on the fly. So to stall and kill time when they were trying to figure out what the next thing was going to be, people just randomly came out and beat the crap out of me.
Random people.
O-Dog.
Okay.
O-Dog one time. Rock and Rebel came and saved me once.
Oh, great. Yeah, there's a piece of shit.
Yeah. So, that was the worst show I've ever seen. I don't remember any single match because I think I've purged it all from my memory, or highly likely that I got concussed and I just do not remember it.
Rock and Rebel was...
Yeah,
it was the herpes of wherever we went. He was the guy we want to lay into, but like, watch, he's gonna end up coming like co-owner, or he's gonna get something on you. So like, we always just Chuck. But like, he was always the shits.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes out that way trying to be Chris Benoit 2.0. You know, you're like
horrible.
Yeah. It was crazy, man. There were people like RIP-ing him. I'm like, what are you RIP-ing that for?
Dude wasn't a good person and went out like an even worse person. Like, no, see ya.
Yeah.
You don't have to say anything rude. Just don't say anything.
Don't say anything. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, that was, one of the great things when Larry passes, all the people saying great stuff about him. And man, what a good guy to end that on a higher note than Rock and Rebel.
Yeah, by far. Yeah, them two were night and day of good and bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rebel, Jesus. What was so rocking about him anyway?
Don't know.
He was always like, he's the draw of the show. I'm like, no one's coming to see him.
I mean, people did come because they hated them and wanted to boo him. And I guess that's a thing. Like, I think most people just legitimately hated him. It wasn't like he was good at getting heat. He just showed up, had that ugly face. And that
when you say that, going back with that mattress place, were you wrestling on mattresses? There was no ring?
No, we had a ring.
Okay.
We had a ring. The mattresses it was crazy. It was like the back. I think it was just a mattress store. We were in the back and they had like a DJ booth in the back of the mattress store. And there was all mattresses piled up. I took some fun spots that day. I took the camel clutch front drop kick. That was always a fun spot. It was a good time had by some of the drug dealers.
I remember Camden. We had it was one of Reggie's shows where he hyped up this super death match, and of course we get there and there's no chairs. There's no chairs. Is this a ring? So when we're filming this, it looks like we're just filming practice.
Yeah,
that's what it looked like. But there was a little set of bleachers, and I have to say, like, that was probably one of the two worst shows because the only other guy on there was Johnny Steele.
I remember Johnny Steele. Yeah,
Reggie wrestled Garrett, and it's supposed to be this crazy hardcore man. There was nothing really too hardcore about it at all. And then Reggie cheers, Camden, and then he goes to the locker room, and then Johnny Steele hits the ring and goes, Reggie, I want to fight you. And then he comes right back. I was like, wow, what an awesome show we got going on here.
Wow.
And there was another one in Violent. It was just a one-off guy. But he had this benefit show.
Benefit show.
For people like terminally ill, cancer. I mean, there were a lot of people like bald there, like, So we were cool with that, but you get in this VFW, man, and with the ring, our heads are at the ceiling. So you literally was like bounce off the rope, leg takedown, because you can't body slam, you can't drop kick. It was just all chain wrestling, headlocks, and talking to the crowd. It was like,
what really gets the crowd going.
Oh yeah, and this like go around the building a little bit, but you couldn't jump off the bottom rope. That was too high. Yeah, that was probably like that. Oh boy, we were all like, what are we gonna do? All of it, every member like, what are we gonna do?
There's a lot of baseball slides in and out of the ring.
Yeah. A lot of chops, punch kick. Yeah, it was. What are you gonna do? But
gorilla press you right into the roof a couple times.
Yeah, that wasn't happening.
Dude,
it's
a strange world we live in, and that it crossed paths in two ways. That not only through wrestling, but also through your film endeavors, that you worked on a movie that was based on a trip I took.
Yeah, how funny is that, man? And then Tommy, Tommy Avalon, he's killing it with all his documentaries. So yeah. Oh, he did the Bill Murray stories. That's his.
Wow, that's really great.
Yeah. Ghost Heads and I Am Santa. He's a doc guy. You gotta realize, like, a movie like Mancation cost a lot of money. It was shot in red. He got named. I don't know their finance books of Double Windsor, but there's no way they made all that money back. I just know that. Like, they're not the way they're paying these days.
Yeah.
So, it's wiser move to, I got an idea for a document, another one, You got to just manage with the times, and, it's not a reason starting up this show, always be relevant, always be talking, And I always had a thing about my wrestling. Like I don't talk about it much. It was one of those things I don't bring up to people. So when they find out, they're like, "You were like, yeah, I was involved with that," because I didn't want to be guys that are like talking about it consistently that are out of the. I've seen people around that still act like they're in the wrestling business and they have nowhere to go. They don't even like they retired or / got kicked out, but they're still walking around saying they're still wrestlers. I'm like, you're not, dude. Like you're not a wrestler anymore, man. Like you got to know how to turn the page.
Yeah. I think the big thing that's missing is like a beer league for old professional wrestlers. Like, if you love hockey so much, you can go and play hockey on a Monday night with your friends and get your hockey fix in. There's nothing like that for professional wrestling. You can't just be like, hey, you wanna go have a match later? It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Nerd up. All right, brother.
All right, man.
I think we're good for this round, but yeah, dude, we'll do this again another time. But thank you so much.
Hey, no problem.
Part of Average Superstar TV. I hope everybody will watch this tonight. Got enjoyment out of 2 parts of my life here, and the current movies as well. So, I'll get the martial arts era. I'm going to be jumping all over my shows here. There's a lot of
that's awesome
in my life. So I will see you all in April for the next live show, and every Monday. Always look for my brand new weekly shows that drop every Monday on YouTube, Spotify, and what the hell's the other one? I'm freaking getting punch drunk here. Stitcher, iHeartRadio. Yeah, but subscribe to Average Superstar TV on YouTube. And yes, thank you again, friend. And with that, I say good night.
Good night.